Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Kylie Cheng. I'm a holistic psychiatrist and psychotherapist, and I also make films and educational videos on my website, drkylie.com. So today I'm here with George Videla, who is a Universal Ambassador for Peace, an author, spiritual and family man who's originally from Chile in South America, but he now lives here in Queensland, Australia. And I'm supporting George because he has an important message for us today, which I'm looking forward to hear about as well. So, George, tell us about yourself.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kylie, firstly, for making the time and providing me with this wonderful opportunity. And yes, I feel very guided to being a part of this today, to the greater parts of sharing and the messaging, because this is where we're at now in a pivotal timeline. We are in a transformational period across the globe, you could say. So I'm here to discuss, to share, and I am very, very passionate about global peace.
Great. And so, why are you an ambassador for peace, George?
So, Ambassador for Peace is something that has been born out of me through what seems now already like a lifetime of collectively supporting and serving the greater good through my roles in the community, which have been vast and have taken me to every place by now, from being a former police officer, 10 years of service across the state in various roles, to seeing it in triplicate already,
Wow.
everything to then um, coming out of that role and really, really immersing myself into my communities and growing in that space where, if we're looking at policing models, if we're looking at military concepts, if we're looking at systems in general, it's only when we remove the reactive component and we actually become more entrenched in humanity that
Mm.
we realize how much there is. So I went very much from a vast experience to a traditional reactive way of serving the community, which I'm very proud of to this day.
Mm.
And and I have connected to all communities now, which is what I'm very grateful for, the opportunity from being a youth worker with
Oh.
our troubled youth, to supporting uh, all adults in mainstream prisons, to watch houses. Um, and I'm very, very passionate about special education, very passionate about supporting people with a disability, people that are different in our communities. And in there, I found service as a teacher aide as well. So this is across a truncation of paid employment, you could say, which is already extensive. But you see how one has worked very well with the other. So collectively, I've found a lot of me, and I've listened to those stories. I've sat in those circles.
Mm.
And as a great consequence, I am the passionate. I am this vision now. I am this peace that I have come to want to embody, to support, to serve others. And the driving force is my spirituality, is my experiences to date as well as a spiritual man. And I really believe that all of us can find a greater way of serving, a greater
Wow.
way of being.
That's
And
fascinating, George, because I didn't know that you were in the police, actually. And
Full of
actually, I'm part
surprises.
of that work too. So we have that in common.
Very
Um,
good.
and yeah, it's very important. And,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm very curious how it ties in with your current work. And what are you doing now at the moment, George?
Sure, sure. Well, I am a watch house officer at the moment, so I've come kind of 360
And what does
back
that
to
entail?
watch house officer work entails looking after uh, people that come into the custody and care of the police. It's security, it's management of the people in custody first and foremost, but also preserving and maintaining a safe working environment for staff and fellow co-workers as well.
Oh, so you're still in the police right now?
Right now, yeah, I've done a 360 where I've come back
Oh,
the moment in more recent
okay.
times now.
Is that
Uh,
Queensland Police or?
yes, yes, it is. Yes, it
Oh,
is.
great. You know what? I'm actually making a short film right now for a film festival, and it's about a policeman.
Oh, wow.
And
Wonderful.
that seems to be such a coincidence how we're talking at the moment, and we're all
Sure,
involved in this kind of work.
sure.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. It's wonderful
yeah,
how the
what a
universe, how
coincidence.
source just brings ideas and people together. Yeah.
Yeah, so we might get back to that, but I'll ask you a few more questions that I'm sure everyone wants to know about at the moment. So, you've got a YouTube channel and a documentary called Our True Origins, What It Means to Be a Human Being. Do you want
Yes.
to talk a bit about that?
Yes, yes, definitely. Wow. Time traveling. Yes, 2018 uh, was when it was born. When it was born, when the power, when the vision came to me about such a documentary, again through my own self-realization and my own journeying spiritually, and that led me to want to do this documentary. But how and where and why? So it all aligned to me, and it's just a self-made documentary. As a lot of what I have done has been self-made out of the passion
And how did
and
you
the
shoot it? Was it with a phone or with like a camera?
yeah. It was with just me being the lead actor, director, producer. So I used the GoPro, which I
Oh,
would often
GoPro.
use, and I still to this day have a pretty handy camera.
Hmm.
And a lot of what I captured through the years, a lot of in that timeline, anyways, is very valuable. It's very real. It's all my material, and the vision is to to learn, all of us to grow together. So the vision is around our true origins. It's around the collectiveness of us as a human species, from now to the documentary to long term, a humane existence, a
Wow.
humane society. So that was, you could say, the infancy, the first creation. And, even back then, I was connected. I got a wonderful international speaker that I interviewed on there that is on the documentary.
Hmm.
Very, very enlightened, wise man. And my special guest who makes an appearance there, Andrew Raz. Um, and the images, the other story, which I guess we will get into as well, is part of the bigger transformation that we're in now, that I was experiencing then in a big way as well, which I am sharing videos and images of the lights in the skies of what I have experienced.
Fascinating.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So tell me your experiences about these lights in the sky.
Sure, sure. So, going back a little while ago when I was a younger fella, yeah, look, I've just experienced wow stuff, and like a lot of experiences, a lot of contactees, a lot of people initially you go through your own transformation, your own process, uh, whereby you keep things internalized, right? You want to be safe, you're not sure where to turn to. So I've gone through the whole process as a person, and that's why now I'm at the forefront because I've grown, and initially, I asked for my viewers there, I asked for people watching the documentary, for anybody in our society who is new, who isn't aware of contact, of any any other worldly terms such as extraterrestrials, such as UAPs, as they call them now, unidentified aerial phenomena. I'd encourage you, as anything else, through your life, through your process as an individual, to be open minded. To be open minded, right? Because we all had to crawl before we could walk, before we could run.
Yeah.
So we're in that transition, we are in that growth as a human collective society to learn, to grow, and to do better. So I encourage all the viewers there and anybody particularly who is new or has preconceived judgment on this subject to please stay open-minded and stay open-hearted. Open heart is the key because, through the years, I have experienced nothing but love, nothing but blissful states of love, of light, of peace. And I can prove it if people want the physical media, if people want the videos,
Can you
or
verbally tell
if,
us a
sure.
memory of something that happened
Oh, look,
where
yeah,
you were
absolutely.
contacted? Or
Look, one of a couple of my most beautiful, beautiful experiences come to mind, such as seeing large crafts decloak, to use a word, appear, decloak, announce yourself. You know how we'll go out to a party, okay, you wear your best threads, and all of a sudden you decloak. Wow, you arrive. You show your presence to everybody. That's what the crafts do as well. The UAPs, the UFOs, anything in a higher dimensional plane isn't necessarily visual to the perception, to the senses that we are used to in a state of consciousness, because it's all consciousness, the states, the awareness we house. So they can choose. They are aware, they have awareness and a higher consciousness because they evolved in the higher vibration, which is love. Love, peace, the highest frequency. So they can choose. So it has been in their timing. But the coincidental thing is that I'm always around.
wow.
So
So you saw
that
it
means
with your
something.
eyes or you heard
I've seen
it?
it
Or...
all the time, all the time. So I've seen very large, beautiful crafts just glide past me, from years back to fast forward to recently, it can happen during the day. And it's beautiful manifestations. They come through, and if you can imagine um, an orb of light, let's say a beautiful orb of light, a bouncing light around you, that they come through into our pocket of space and time by decloaking. And this is why we have to have an open mind because it's new concepts, it's different. Let's not compartmentalize it, everybody. Let's not try and fit it into our square pigeon desktop here. Let's just stay open minded and be open that there is higher vibrations and higher conscious states of life at any given time. So they've just let me know consistently through my life that they are there. And like I said, I have photos, videos, and it is always about higher states, always very beautiful. I have communicated, and it's always open hearted, open minded.
Did you
There's
ever
no,
visualize the beings who were communicating or was it
yes, yes, I have seen beings as well. Yes, I
okay?
have. I have.
And
I
what do they look like or what do they say or
look
feel
some of them are similar to us. There's all types of life forms. Okay. Now, one experience that comes to mind, very beautiful experience, very, as I'm thinking now, I'm taken back there to just utter love. And it was an event in 2014. So I used to be part of an organization as well. I've done lots of things, but in that period of time that I'm talking about, I was part of an organization here in Queensland called ORSETI, the Australian Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence. So I was at the forefront of that, as was another founder of that organization, Jared Smith, wonderful man. And we would take ourselves to different locations across the southeastern corner, hinterland area, national parks, beautiful areas. And a lot of the times, well, in this particular event, we were at Sanford Valley, and we co-hosted, we facilitated an amazing contact experience for everybody.
So everyone saw the same thing at the same time, or?
No, no. So that's also a very personal experience for the receiver, for the contactee. So give you an example, okay? It's like an eyewitness account talking about the officer and what you're doing and his story. It's no different to an eyewitness coming to you as an officer and recounting what happened to them through their senses, how they perceive it.
Oh.
But then if there's another witness that saw the same thing, guess what? It's going to be slightly different.
Mm.
So when you experience contact, take yourself to that scenario as well, whereby what you experience could be different to what I experience. And that is a commonality as well, because they come through, but it's our different senses
Were there
that
any
perceive them.
similarities between the?
Yeah, look, I got photos. I have photos. I have a video
So
as
there were
well.
some people who saw the similar or same thing, and some people who
There,
perceived
there
something.
was, look, in that particular event, contact, look, generally what would happen, particularly when I was involved and we would do something, contact would happen even before you sit down,
Oh,
okay? Because we and you out there, my audience listening, and anybody who wants to experience a real higher knowing, higher awareness experience, you have to be open-minded, like I've said, open-hearted, and let go of any agendas. Key. So, it's no surprise by some people that are closed-minded, that want to reap for their own gain, yeah, have a secret agenda, wonder why they cannot experience higher states of knowledge, awareness, and consciousness. Because beings on higher states that are loving, compassionate, and peaceful, we'll pick that person out a mile away, a mile away. So you have to be genuine in what is the key? Intention. What is your intention? Okay, so we would always have very genuine intentions. And to this day, what do? I have very genuine intentions. So we would start to have contact even before guests and people sat down, to a different looking bird on a tree. Wow. Opened up his wings one time. Gold,
wow.
gold. Wow. Was that bird there all along? To a surreal energy coming down on the group where you feel a huge vibration.
Wow. And what time of day was that? Like at night or in the
So
day?
usually into the evening, yeah, it was when we would do the contacts and
And how many people were in
darkness
that
coming through.
group of the?
Whoever would come along, it was always very open. What
Okay.
we do, it was transparent.
Hmm.
Again, going back with the intention, the approach, and the energy that you bring, always transparent, always genuine. We would follow the genuine protocols to keep everything in house and orderly, which is what I've been touching on. Be
Wow.
genuine. be loving, okay, be respectful, no alcohol, no smoking,
So no
okay.
drugs, no alcohol,
Yeah, yeah,
your
no, no.
pure presence. Yeah.
And you could tell, you could tell on one or two occasions when that energy, when that person came along, that shouldn't have been there. And it
Oh,
was for another reason. So, and we come across that in society, right? But we are inclusive. We keep giving everybody the opportunity to learn and grow. But
wow. And how do
that's
you,
what I
I'm
look.
intrigued, George. So how do you
Good,
sort of
good.
bring that in and tie it in with the current work you're doing? Because it's quite difficult being in the police, I know. And
Yeah,
how do
yeah.
you bring
Look,
all those teachings and the love and peace into your work and the
sure.
challenges there?
Yeah, great question. For me, I embody that which I am now. So let's start with an invocation, an affirmation. I am peaceful. I am peace. I am peaceful, and everyone is peaceful around me. So you do that which you want to co-create. So regardless of the environments I am in now, because I have worked in the most challenging and difficult environments, rest assured, and I bring my state of being. And you know what? It works hard. It works because if you treat someone with respect, if you are calm natured, if you are genuine, again, it's all these higher, higher traits of a human being. Guess what? Things go okay. So that's what I've learned, and that's what I do wherever I
Wow.
house and whatever I do. If I'm in my car and I'm going to work, if I'm in my car, I'm going to the shopping center, I am not road raging. I'm not driving up somebody's back end in their car. So it's a manifestation that you become. It's what you live and breathe, right?
And I
So,
suppose when you're in that state of mind and you're sort of channeling that peace and love, I'm sure that the people who you contact, like in your work, who are
yeah,
maybe very distressed or very violent or aggressive, they feel that, don't they? And they sort of
sure,
calm down
sure,
as well. Do you find
sure.
that? Or-
Absolutely, absolutely. And I get that feedback all the time and that gratitude because people know, we know, you know. People know when someone's being genuine, particularly in those environments of highly vulnerable people. The key being trust, trust, trust. And it's no different to us out here in us. We go and buy a service, we go and request a product. There's a trust, there's a frequency, there's a commitment. Whether unwritten, we are contracting to serve and to be a service, right? So it's no different, particularly though in places of high vulnerability. That's where it's very obvious. So I go all right, and I I
And it's quite
don't
a different
just
attitude sometimes to what happens in law enforcement, isn't it?
oh look absolutely, and I
Yeah.
understand that this persona in this way you couldn't do it reactively on the street continually, because those officers aren't like in the watch house in those environments. So when you're highly responsive on the road and you have to race to get to somebody to render them help, you'd be highly agitated, heightened,
Yes, and
So
those
that's what
officers
presents
would be
different
in fight or flight mode
all the
themselves.
time,
Their nervous
all the time.
systems would be way up here,
Yes,
faced
correct.
with a
Yeah,
threat, like serious threat to their own lives and the lives of others. What would
yes,
how have you dealt with that when you've been on the road as an officer?
sure, sure. Well, I was present. Like I've always had a spiritual house. I've realized that from my ancestry, from my family, my lineage to South America. I realized from a long time ago that I'm a spiritual guy. I just grew through that. And It's really now taken me to the person I am. But back in that timeline when I was in that reactive model and serving people, um, it served me well because even though I couldn't be always this relaxed or composed, but you feel like you're very aware, protected, aware, and things just seem to take a course for the better, and then so. But yeah, look, I've seen it all in triplicate. I've been there with people in their last moments to their first moments. I seem to have this inherent trait by now whereby I am supporting others, in very delicate periods of their lives, to transitioning. I've been there for friends, for family, to animals. Take
Wow.
your pick how many animals I've actually come across, and they're in their last moments, and I've been there. So life shows you a pattern, takes you on a journey, and the realization is on you. So I have grown through that, to answer your question, how did I do it then to now? I've been all those places, but I've grown substantially. And peace, if we can adopt a more peaceful state of being in our communities, in our societies, we will all be better for it. Right?
That's incredible. Hey, hearing you talk about some of those things actually gave me goosebumps because it's so true, so from your heart, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
makes so much sense as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I did have
Life
another question
experience.
for you, George. So,
Sure.
you know how we're talking about when you're on this road and the officers are like, very heightened fight or flight sort of survival mode. And sometimes when you're in that state for very long, your nervous system basically shuts down and it's hard to feel any sense of empathy or connection or compassion even.
Yes, correct.
Um, how have you dealt with that? And is there any advice you want to give those officers who are
Definitely.
currently in that state?
Definitely. I would encourage all those good officers to reach out, firstly, to themselves. You've got to be real with yourself, identify with yourself what's working out and what isn't through your days. That's the sign of a big person. That's the sign of true responsibility by taking ownership for your life because it's no different, right? We expect it from our communities that we respond to. We expect it by enforcing laws, judgments, but it's got to come back to the self, to the person. So you have to go within, as all answers are within. First and foremost, start with yourself, truly be honest. And if you're identifying a need, a want, a lacking, a pain, don't keep it in there. Don't keep it in there. It's no different for ladies or men, but traditionally speaking, for men, yes, and I was one of those, you carry the boulder forever and a day, to use an expression. And the old counseling term, I'm a former counselor too. Let's look at the old Johari window, the four pains, so there's always an image that you're going to portray to others. But that's not always the image internally. You're internalizing a lot. So there's always going to be something that only you know and no one else knows. So if you are having difficulty, if you need help, hey, just reach out. It's all good. We're in a transitional period now. And I've witnessed that as well, coming back to service in a different role. I'm not a police officer now, but I have seen the growth. And there are wonderful officers like myself. I'm a peer support officer as well. And so you can reach out. You can reach out. You can trust the system, the health and well-being division around you, starting from your PSOs to your chaplains. If you are spiritual of faith, you want to go to a chaplain, to your HSOs. human service officers. And there's also wonderful online systems that it's just one tap of a phone through the intranet system, and bang, someone will be on the phone. And there is privacy for yourself, the recipient. Obviously, that's always a concern for a lot of people. But I'm also here to say to you that you are not alone. And it's okay if you come out. It's okay, man. Certainly with me and many wonderful people that I know that are serving in the same capacity. We are not here to judge anybody, and nobody is less or inferior because they may have a mental health problem, because they're suddenly not coping. No way, man. It just means, again, that you're a human being. You're a human being, and you're realizing yourself in a moment of growth, not need of growth, of growth. So, hey, reach out. Are you okay? And from me, you'll always get love and peace, you know? So,
Wow, that is such an important message, and that's amazing advice.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
George. I think that will help a lot of people who are listening, actually.
Good, good, good. Thank you. I just go with the flow, and, it's life experience, Kylie. That's why I've done it all in triplicate or more. So I can just absorb and talk very easily because I've kind of
Yes,
seen it and done it.
that's right. And I do have another question that touches on something you said, how you've always been, how you've had a lot of these transitional moments, of people coming into the world or leaving the world, life and death, birth, maybe rebirth. How do you navigate death? Because one of my friends recently told me, the worst thing for him about the job of being a policeman is when he gets called and someone's dead. And he finds that extremely traumatic, like many other people in the police. How do
Sure,
you
sure,
navigate that?
sure, sure. Wonderful question. A 501, code 501, sudden death. Yeah, look, for me, it certainly has helped exposure to it from a young age. And it's not the same for everybody, but just to give you a background as well, because as a young teenager, I got an uncle of mine ready for a funeral. I was the person, I was everything to him. And I stepped into that role again from like a higher knowing, very comfortable. And I looked after him, and it was very loving. And from there, it's consistently occurred in my life, like I said. So, touching on that point that I just made, it was respectful and loving. So, if you can find the love, again, love being the highest energy, hey, they're a stranger to you, but they are somebody's loved one. Love being the key. So, if you come at it from a higher place of awareness, you will respect the process more, you will love that moment more, and the love is the return. The love will look after you because you will honor and respect them more, as opposed to, you know what, it's someone else, it's not me. So you may fall into lower frequencies, which then come back to you. See, it's all frequency, it's all energy. But hey, for me to this day, that young lady, that older gentleman in my care, whether it's in a watch house, whether it's been in a resi care home, whether it's been in a prison down the road, wherever, I have respected. They are somebody's loved one. She is somebody's sister. She is somebody's mother. So if we come at it with a higher awareness and respect the process for what it is, love will guide you. Love will take you, and it's okay, man. Be open. If you need to grieve for that first response officer who is always being thrown around, and then, yes, you will end up with a sudden death. Where's the debrief? Where's the acknowledgement? Guess what? Sometimes there isn't. And see you later. Your shift finishes and off you go, highly heightened, to do it all over again tomorrow. So you need to find the love in that moment, which is key, through respect, through loving the process. And the more you find love, the more you will grow spiritually. Spiritually being the key to our journey, right? So then when you go and question and you get home and you're exhausted and you go back to thought patterns, to that self-talk, to that tapping on the shoulder of that feeling, of that anguish, of that anxiety, perhaps because rubbed you up the wrong. You come at it from higher awareness, so you will be more spiritually inclined to find peace and find the right supports. Again, find that right person, starting from you, and reach out. It could be just picking up a phone, having a chat to your mate, or letting that duty sergeant know that was on shift the other day when you endured that incident to find time to speak to him. But it's got to come from you again. It's got to come from us, from the individual, particularly for officers on the road, because everyone's always so busy, busy, job to job to job. But we have to anchor ourselves, anchor to the higher awareness states, which is always going to be love, loving. But hey, we're in the QPS. I don't want to say love, man. Okay, well, let's say higher awareness, being self-aware of your health and well-being. Health and well-being, being really aware of me, okay? Mind, body, spirit, which that's what they're getting more into, see? Be really aware and start from you and reach out, man. Reach out to Georgie, the PSO. Reach out to Sergeant blah, blah, blah. Reach out to Kylie. Do a video. Do a release. 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 Vocalize it. Physically release it. Exercise. Find your niches, and then you will grow and you will find symmetry and you will balance out. You will balance out, and that which bothered you today will not bother you tomorrow, and you will continue to ascend and grow on the spiritual ladder.
Wow, what an important message, George. And I think that message will reach a lot of people.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can feel that. And
Good,
so
good.
I hear that, that it's really important to hold on to love and that higher vibration or energy, no matter what your outside circumstances, love for yourself, love for others.
Yes,
And,
yes.
at times it's so challenging. Are there any specific tips, something you do in the moment? What's the one thing you can do, when you find it hard to feel that love
Sure, sure,
yourself or
sure.
others? What do you do that helps you?
Well, breath work, anchoring into you and what works is golden. So by now I know what to do if at moments, which again through duration and time, for me now it doesn't happen much, right? Because I'm this peaceful states that I want to embody. But yes, it has happened. When it happens, you have to anchor in and go to what you know. So breath work. If you noticed, even while we've been talking, it's been a bit of a synergy with our talking, our vocals, the energy. So I'm very aware, very aware. So as you become uncomfortable through that person that pushed your buttons, if all you're going to do is react, then you're going to be that sponge that reacts to everything it is put on. But if you release yourself from that absorption of your environment, release yourself and master yourself, you will begin to react less with that which bothers you. And all these anchoring tools that you are learning from your Georgies, from your Kylies, from your life experience along the way will bring you again to a higher standing, to a more balanced life. But you got to pick up on your own cues. And you know it. Officers out there know it. Anybody in the community knows it in retail, that truck driver, that mum, that childcare worker, you know when you're starting to get flustered, when you're uncomfortable. And before you know it, blah, 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 escalation. And let's not even go to the physical because That's where our greatest problems to this day are in our society, you know. And it's these little reactions, little problems, and then you get your big peoples at the top. Oh, yeah, I'll hit that button and they'll throw damaging bombs at somebody. You know, how is violence, which again, I'm showing my love for peace here because I do not agree with physical violence on anybody. I do not agree with warfare or destructive weapons in our society anymore. No, no. So that's my bigger place of global peace. That's my bigger way, which I have a lot that we could deep dive into maybe for another time. But
Yes,
you know, we
amazing.
can't answer violence with violence. So we have to anchor, we have to come back and hey, the best fight is the fight that you don't have to fight. Withdraw.
Yes.
For you officers, it's called tactical withdrawal.
Tactical withdrawal. I like that. And that
Tactical
can be
withdrawal.
applied with
Take your
anyone,
time.
really.
You
Yeah.
take your time, you gather yourself. No
Hmm.
one says you have to go through that door. No one says you have to go and have that wrestle with somebody. Take your time,
Yeah.
compose, remove yourself. Let someone else jump in. If you're getting flustered, hey, let your partner jump in. Strategize. Communication is key.
And taking that pause is so important.
Yeah,
With any technique that helps you, isn't it? Whether
yeah,
it's mindfulness, awareness, breath work, whatever it is that helps you is the right
definitely,
technique, isn't it?
definitely, absolutely.
Yeah. And finally, it's been a very fascinating interview with you, George. I'd
Thank you.
like to know what's your message for us?
Well, the message for all of us is again from my consciousness, from higher states of awareness across the globe that we are all a part of. We can all activate and be more than our perceptions. We can all hook up to the global consciousness. You know, we're big on technology, we're big on Wi-Fi, we're big on this and that activation. Hey, why don't we connect to the higher states of consciousness through love, peace? Guess what? We are going to have an amazing planet. So, my bigger message is for those who aren't aware of it, I'm here to tell you we are in a transformational period on our planet. If for those who feel it will know and agree with me, for those that don't, it's an opportunity to clear your house, to start doing the work on you, okay? Because we are in transformational times on the planet. Mother Earth is a consciousness, she is alive. And for a duration of time, longer than you and I could even know or remember, she has been supporting us. She doesn't charge us rent, she doesn't charge us anything, and she's given us everything to live and grow on. And she is shifting. She has been shifting for a little while now, and the vibration on the planet is expanding. Consciousness is expanding. So we, those who are aware, are aware. Those that aren't, I would encourage you to work on yourself. That thing that is still left unsaid or undone, work on it. We're all here for the soul journey. We're all here for a short time, not a long time. And remember, everybody, it's the soul that continues. So the soul matters. We are in this timeline where the soul knows all and everything is coming to a collective timeline. So, what I'm saying to you is deal with that which is unsaid. We are transforming and we must come together.
Wow, that is a powerful, powerful message and such an important one for people to hear.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
George, and
Thank you.
thank you, listeners. I'm sure you have learned a lot from George today.
Thank you, everybody.
So
Love, light, and peace to everybody. Thank you very much, Kylie.
thank you. I'll stop with the recording now then.
Okay.